Guys, time for another huge debate on Full-Time Devils. Looking forward to this one. We're here in the Old Nag's Head pub. J Motty's here, Howson's here, Adam Mckola's here. Guys, it's a transfer special today because we have gone full Brexit FC with the players that we've been linked to recently. All English, Maddison, Grealish and Jadon Sancho. So I thought that
like Maddison.
Since we've been linked to these, I really would love someone to make that a chant, but it's never going to happen at Old Trafford.
We'll do it.
Bit of a culture clash.
Once we bring the Nigerian crowd through and we get that little bit of culture into the stadium and a little bit, few drums in the strep, but then dancing, all that stuff,
mate.
Then that'll be easier to introduce. Do you know what I mean?
I don't support this message.
Right, so let's get stuck into it, guys. We've got 3 players that we are linked to, 3 guys on the couch in the pub with us right now. So,
if you have drums, you might as well have a trumpet.
Each of you,
fuck off.
I want to make a choice.
Noisy cunt.
If you could have one of those 3 players, Grealish, Maddison, or Sancho. Howson.
Sancho. Next question.
Right, go on, Sancho. Talk to me about Sancho.
Right.
Why is he going to fix United?
Well, at the moment, United don't have any balance. We don't have NatWest balance, Barclays balance. We don't have any sort of balance on the right-hand side whatsoever, right? And then one of the reasons why I think Wan-Bissaka looks so bad with the ball on the right-hand side is because he's the only player on the right-hand side.
It's true.
Everyone that plays on the right-hand side drifts in. Every single one of them. Mason Greenwood, he drifts in. Dan James sometimes goes on the left. Like Mata just runs off.
Jam
names.
Like Lingard, they all fuck off. No one stays there. And it's been the same when it was Young, it's been the same when it was Valencia, and they literally just stand there on their own as a fullback. Now, Jadon Sancho, he likes to cut in. If you watch him at Dortmund, he also holds his line really well as well, and he's an option. And when you've got options like that spread the pitch, if you had Marcus on the left and Jadon on the right, and I actually think that you could both swap them guys over as well. And going forward, a future England front three of Mason, Jadon and Marcus Rashford. Oh, that's hot, innit? That's so hot. Yeah, now, I like what I think there seems to be almost like...
Something to say about that, by the way.
Probably not playing for a different club by then. So and he can't play for England either. I don't think Marshall's ever going to play for England, if I'm being honest.
Of course he is.
I'm going to rule him out as being an England international.
You know what? You saw this.
Am I hearing this right? What? You're ruling out?
Shut your dick.
Okay, right. Okay, carry on.
And
go on.
I like that we appear to have been looking in our last. Basically, in the last transfer window, realistically, at players that are shitting goals and shitting assists. Bruno Fernandes, is he going to replicate what he did in Portugal, in England? Probably not. But that's a guy who's out there playing football, shitting goals, shitting assists. Then we go and try and pick up someone like Jadon Sancho, shitting goals, shitting assists. Then we tried to get Erling Haaland and failed, but the fact that we went for him, there's an archetype of someone that we was going for is someone who's just absolutely goal machine. Yeah. So the fact that we've literally just tried to add goals into this team with very exciting prospects of players, with players that are literally out there doing it right now, regardless of the age that they are, they're fucking scoring goals left, right and centre, all 3 of them. I like that as a potential strategy going forward. I don't know who the secondary option is going to be if we didn't get Haaland. It's clearly not a Gallo. So who's the forward we're looking for in the summer? I'm excited to see.
But used to be a blue bastard.
And he's not a City fan.
Not bothered?
No, he's not a City fan. He fucking hates City.
The only thing I have with
City as much as any of us here.
Massive money to get him, and I think the only way we do get him ahead of the other clubs that have been linked with him, like Chelsea, and even the scouts are sniffing around him, he's absolutely throwing shitloads of paper at him.
Give me a number.
120 mil, which I think is probably likely could happen and doable. The problem with that is you're probably going to get around that figure, in my opinion, for Paul Pogba. That's all your Pogba budget gone, and I don't trust these owners to have more money than that, or not have more money, to put our money, the club's money, back into it. I think they'd literally go, right, so get rid of Paul Pogba for say 130, 140 mil, buy Sancho, that's it. I don't think they do anything else. But I think the other players we're going to talk about, you might be able to buy them and another one because they're not going to cost as much as Jadon Sancho. You could argue that Jadon Sancho costs more because he's better and he's got better prospects, but I still think £120 million for a player that's never had a full season in the Premier League, a proper season in the Premier League, is a bit of a risk. I think he will be a top player, and I think he's good, but it's a massive risk, especially at our club where we're not going to go out and buy 3 or 4 top players.
Is that the first £100 million player to play in the Premier League? Because the only other £100 million ones have been Barcelona have had a couple.
I've been bought.
Hazard went for 100 the other way, didn't he?
Yeah, went the other way.
But I think, yeah, I can't think of one. So yeah, I mean, I know we've had near that.
John O'Shea played in the Premier League.
Wasn't £100 million.
He was worth that though.
Yeah.
And the rest. But yeah, so again, he looks like a lad that can handle that sort of pressure, but it's a lot. It's a big ask, and that's it. That's it for us in the summer. I think we'll try and get other deals done. But
I think you're probably right. We're probably not going to buy loads, and we definitely do need loads. But I think that need is very significant need.
I think the talk about us getting 5 is a bit. I'm very pessimistic about that. I can't see that happening at all. Interesting, it comes around,
we do one
just before the season ticket renewals start popping up and all that stuff. If you want to be sceptical. As for the Chelsea interest in Jadon Sancho, there's the fact that now they've got Hakim Ziyech, they've got Hudson-Odoi, they've got Pulisic. Are they going to be least likely to invest massively in the wing positions?
You think so? For 100 million at least?
Possibly. I imagine they might be like that. But then again, they have an owner that's happy to chuck his money at things sometimes, although less likely.
Sometimes. It depends how he gets out of bed in the morning, I think, isn't it?
So I do think Chelsea will be less of a threat in terms of... The big thing, though, is Champions League football. Will Jadon want to come without that? Now you've got that
whole thing about Champions League football was bollocks last season.
No, I'm not referring to that. I don't like to refer to past rumours because you never know whether they're true or not. But in terms of Champions League football for him at this stage, is he going to come to us without it? You could see the other players that we're going to mention, they probably would come to us without it. In fact, I think they're likely they would. He's going to have so many clubs after him. There might be a few others that enter the race. Liverpool, I can see them possibly selling Mo Salah. With Olympics and the African nations coming up in January, they're probably going to think it's probably best to sell him.
Before, innit? So, if they got him, it makes a hell of a lot of sense for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
It's a scary prospect of him.
So I think we're not going to be the only ones in for Jadon Sancho, and it could even bump the price up further, which again, with the owners we have, and looking at it realistically and not from a, we should be able to spend this money. Realistically, if the club spent 120 to 150 million on one player, how much else are they going to put in?
Fuck all, that's what I'm saying.
Not imagine much.
Yeah. But you also got to think that we've been clearing the wage bill for 18 months or so, realistically. And we've been clearing it for a big push because everything's really slipping. Like, you can't continue this decline. And the nightmare is, we're looking at it from the perspective of fans where we want to be the best, and the owners don't look at it from that perspective. And it's hard for us to see their perspective. What's their perspective on this? We don't know. We go, yeah, just pay the fucking money. I want to turn it over 600 million. Yeah, Jadon Sancho, get his ass in.
But it's in Dortmund's interest to just wait a little bit. Unless if he gets a massive injury in the Euros and it's blown up in the face and they've lost 100 million.
That's poor, isn't it?
It's in their interest to wait. Because his price isn't going to go down if he has a bad Euros.
Because after the Euros, then the guy goes on holiday, then everyone's back in pre-season, and then, window shut.
That's the thing, wouldn't it breed a lot of confidence into the fans, into the club, into the manager, everything? If we were able to agree some deals in advance. You look, I think Hakim Ziyech's a bit of a special case in terms of he was always going to leave Ajax. The fee's probably not as much. But Jadon Sancho's been clear he's going to leave Dortmund at the end of the season. If you want to make it happen, go make it happen. And I think you have to be proactive. It's almost like we wait for the window to open. Oh, now it's open. Now Jim White's got his fucking tie on. Let's get active. And it's like, come on, we can start doing our due diligence now, getting in there, getting negotiations in, and trying to sign these players. And it's almost like we try and hold out until the club will accept the lower bid, which they don't. We see Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, all this. We paid full price.
We paid the asking price after just dicking ourselves around for months.
Yeah.
Well, one player where you can sort of understand why they're holding off and they won't be able to get the deal done early because he wants to actually see where his club's going to be at the end of the season. Jack Grealish. Whose choice is Jack Grealish? Is it really? Why does that not fucking surprise me?
So he can get up on the M6.
Give him a lift.
Me and Jack Grealish on the M6 in my polo.
You're picking us up, Lord.
Listen, Jackie Grealish needs to come to Man United. I also don't think it's dependent on whether they go down. I think he just wants to keep them up. As someone that's came through the academy, I think he'd want to keep them up and then stay and then move on. I think if they stay up, he moves. If they go down, he moves. I think he'll leave. And I think Manchester United is the place. Talks about being a Villa fan, and you look at his social media history, and there's a lot of talk about Manchester United on there, and you feel like it's a little bit of a dream for him. And when you look at him as a player, there was a period in time where he clearly had the talent, and his head was all over the place. He was living like a wild child, you know what I mean? We've all seen the pictures of him and stuff. And I think after that, there was something that clicked in him. He's got his head down, knuckled down. The Championship's probably been good for him in terms of consistent football, week in, week out, with people that want to boot the fuck out of you. And now he's probably got a little bit more of an environment where, hold on, I can play football here in the Premier League. I can try and do my thing. And I think it's a lot of people say Maddison or Grealish, and it's become the age-old question, and even the players are talking about it and stuff on Instagram. But I think you could fit both of them into the team. But if I was going to get one...
Not with Bruno.
If I was going to get one, I do think if you had Bruno, Maddison, Jack Grealish could occupy a wide right position, I think, if you haven't made that signing already.
They're not going to get enough games.
But
he's
not a natural winger. Nevertheless, I think Jack Grealish is ahead of him. For me, his stature, his ability to take pressure, he's kind of I say a big fish in a small pond. I know Villa are a massive club, but you know, he is that. He's taking a lot of pressure to give him the ball and be like, Jack, do something. And more often than not, he does it.
The other week?
I did, yeah.
I was watching it with the eye of who's making things tick for their team the most here. Nothing Villa didn't go through Jack Grealish.
And it's the confidence.
And Maddison just wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
And I think, but you can say Maddison, he's allowed to do that. Because there's not much, other players will step up a little bit. Tillmans and all these guys will come in. But Jack Grealish is the only one. Yeah. And he's stepping up, he's delivering goals, delivering assists. And I think the platform of Old Trafford, when we're playing at games against teams that are just sat in, you give the ball to Jack Grealish, bro. He's not going to shrivel.
Well,
he's gonna try and do things, and he's got the quality.
You've got, let's say you go 4-2-3-1. You've got Bruno's in the team playing as that deep line playmaker with that over the top shotgun sort of pass. You've got
the phone lights out.
Sorry, guys.
You've got Rashford on the left. You've got Sancho on the right with Grealish down the middle. One of them fuckers, one of them four, and it doesn't even matter if me and you are up front, right? One of them four can make something happen on any game.
Right.
And that's when you start to be a good team. Because like you look at City at the moment and you go, right, I'm going to deal with De Bruyne. Who's fucking picking up Sterling? All right, I'll get Sterling, you get De Bruyne. Who's getting Aguero? Right, I'll get Aguero, you get Sterling, you get De Bruyne. Right, all right, who's getting Bernardo?
It's like United of old.
Fuck off, yeah.
And
that's
when
the
we used to have
problem.
loads of match
Well,
winners.
at a minute, you go, for United, you go, I'll deal with Rashford, you sort Pogba out, and you go, cool, 0-0.
And now there's no service to Marshall. It's fucked.
Done. That's it. United aren't scoring. But then you put those ball players in, lads who aren't afraid to shoot from distance and are actually good at it, because we've got lads who aren't afraid to shoot, but they're no fucking good. You've got players with a class, the sort of ability where when people say grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
He's got a George Best swagger, bro. I didn't want to say it
does that.
because
Sancho does that. Sancho does that day in, day out. Marcus Rashford's doing that. You've got players that go, I'm going to fucking win this game.
Are you making a case for him then?
Let's just...
No, I'm making a case for both.
Right.
Mate,
it sounds like you're back.
Imagine Jack Grealish in a United shirt with his socks rolled down to his ankles, no shin pads, balling at Old Trafford.
I do like Grealish.
Number 7.
And he impressed me when we played against him at Old Trafford because he was getting kicked all over the pitch.
It's a goal! It's the best goal I've seen at Old Trafford all season.
He did step up and he did score, and like you say, he just got on with it. But I don't know, man. Sometimes I think, like, is he that type of player that is suited to a smaller club? Has he got that swagger? Because as you said, everything goes through him. And his record is decent at Villa, but there are times when he hasn't been able to fucking turn up. He hasn't been able to do it. I speak to a couple of Villa fans.
He's doing it in a team in a relegation fucking battle.
I know, but he has had what was it, 20 games he went, losing 20 games on the road.
You put him into the Leicester team.
So, it's not Maddison, all roses for him. Do you know what I mean? It's not all gone his own way. He is a good player.
I think he's undervalued and underrated. And I think when you look at England, they're not going to take him to the Euros this summer. And that's the player they need. You need that player. And England are going to overlook it. We always have this problem. I don't really care about England, let's be real. But we always have this thing where we overlook certain types of players. Michael Carrick suffered from it. Paul Scholes suffered from it. And now it's these Jack Grealishes and James Maddisons that are suffering because we want to chuck in 3 of Henderson, Dyer and Wings. It's a disgrace.
Jordan Henderson.
Henderson's the one that deserves to start out of all of them. Out of Dyer and who's the other one?
You're mating it.
The rubbish one?
Rice.
Yeah.
He gets a game, doesn't he?
He's going to be at United in the summer as well. 100 million.
So
worth every penny.
All I'd say to the Grealish thing is how can we have so many number 10s in our team? We've just gone out and got Bruno. We're all dying for a number 10. Where will he play now?
Number 8.
Do you think he'll play as a number 8?
I think he should play as a number. We should play a midfield 3. He should be one of those.
I wanted him further up.
He's basically Paul Pogba, but just not as tall.
I wanted him further up.
Right, but
that's not where he plays.
He can also drive into that area.
He is Paul Pogba, isn't he? Let's face facts.
Yeah.
That's why we got him.
Yeah.
Do you know
He's
what I mean?
Pogba's replacement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sits on the right hand side.
That's something that I think he can push into that position, and it's better to get him moving into that 10 position rather than starting in that 10 position.
What do we struggle from? We struggle getting the ball into the final third. So put someone who can actually ball further back and allow him to bring the ball through
Maddison
the thirds.
giving the ball to Bruno giving the ball to Grealish, bro.
Yeah, and then putting Sancho in, and then
Marshall,
someone popping into the box.
Sancho.
Look, I'm not an expert on the
21
Portuguese
times.
league. I saw Bruno play versus Wolves. I was surprised he was playing so deep. Now I'm not anymore. I understand why. Thank you very much for the lesson, boys.
He has played 10 a lot.
Yeah.
But he's played number 8 a lot. And then I saw people going, why is he playing defensive midfield? Like, you fucking idiots, right? Just because someone's deep like that. I mean, have you ever heard of a guy called Pirlo? Motherfucker dictated games from in the stands, let alone in the number 6 position. Sancho's going to make the run because that's what he does. Grealish will make the run.
Yeah, give me that. Rashford's one of them that says, give me that. I'm going to solve this problem right now. And that's what Jack Grealish is.
Oh, champions 2022.
See how these two sort of fucking teamed up here.
It's good, isn't it?
Both go like for both their players in the team. Now I'm left with James Maddison.
I'll give you your moment then, Jay. Right, no, because
you can just sing that and win.
you mentioned...
Where's he from? Coventry or something?
Yes, that footballing hotbed, man.
But
That's where all the best players come
Tory
from.
as fuck.
Mate, he's not a Tory, right? He was out supporting Corbyn.
Adam, you mentioned about Grealish being a Villa fan, but there's some tweets about United. I do think one player who is actually his dream to play at Old Trafford is James Maddison, because I think he thinks he's next Beckham, doesn't he? You think he wants to be Beckham?
United fan?
Yeah,
he's at the Barcelona game, Russell.
Yeah, he's tweeted about it. You go back over his old tweets. He's obviously a big United fan, and you know, was Odi Nagalo showed us without even kicking a ball. That's all that matters. If you're a United fan, I don't care if you can play football or not. If you're a massive United fan, I'm all for it. The thing with James Maddison, I think he suffers a little bit. Like you said it, Leno, he's a Tory. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got that. He hasn't got that sort of swagger that Grealish has got, all that sort of dynamism.
Yeah, and if you come Old Trafford,
Sancho has got.
need a bit of that.
No, because if you watch him on the ball, he's an excellent footballer. He creates goals, he scores goals. He's like, his record is just a little bit better, I think, for one in 3 in the Premier League.
The most assists in the league last year.
That's what I mean.
Most chances created in the league.
And he's kicked on as well. And it's because he doesn't roll his socks down his shin pads and he doesn't have a daft haircut and his name's not Jaden that we all go,
James Maddison. Have you seen some of the things he wears?
I was going to say, he's flash as fuck.
Yeah, he's not quite that level though.
He has a see-through Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah, off the pitch, maybe.
With his colouring book in it.
He's not got that sort of image.
He's got Boris bag.
But if you put him in the United team, I think he does bits as well. And I think he fits into that team. Everyone's obsessed with this idea of like having 2 holding midfielders. I know we're all not. But I don't think you need that. I think there is room to have Fernandes, Maddison in that team and 1 holding midfielder. Because I think, like you said, you can have Fernandes sitting deep. You can have him pushing on. You can have Maddison alongside him. You don't have to have McTominay and Fred as a holding midfielder and then 1 other midfielder in front of him.
I think Ollie showed that at the start, though, because he had Matic, Herrera, Pogba, didn't he?
And you can do that. And if you've got quality as well, no disrespect to them, but let's not get into it. You know, if you've got like Pereira and Lingard, it's not the same as if you've got a Maddison and a Fernandes. So I think we can accommodate him, and that should be the attitude of Manchester United. We shouldn't be going all defensive. I've seen us set up with 2 holding midfielders against Bournemouth and lose. And it's just fucking depressing, do you know what I mean? We should be going at these teams and taking the game.
Plus, if you've got firepower like Sanchez, Grealish, Bruno, Marshall, Rashford, it doesn't matter how you put them on paper. They're a threat to whoever they play. And the opposition's looking at them going...
We've done it right. In this day and age now, if we had Rooney, Tevez and Ronaldo at their peak in this team now, people go, you can't play them together. That won't work. You're going to have to rotate, you're going to have to drop them. Yeah. We're linked with all fucking 3 of them, aren't we? To be fair.
Ronaldo's bagging it, Rooney's doing all right.
I actually saw stories linking with all, even Tevez was linked to United. But I think...
Who's linked to us?
Mate, that's like the new fucking... That's a new low point. But I think the problem with Maddison as well is he almost gets underrated because he's in a very good team. And I've heard people say, oh, it's Ndidi that makes that team tick. It's Jamie Vardy that makes that team tick. And it's like, you know, it's Johnny Evans, and I think, what you're on about? Maddison is that player that makes that team tick. He just doesn't get enough credit for it because he's got other good players around him.
Right, 30 seconds, go.
We don't have a right winger. We haven't had a right winger since Steve Coppell. We need someone that can offer balance on the right-hand side and give us width when we're attacking. We've got players that can fit in the number 10. Maybe not perfect, but as you've already said, Bruno Fernandes could slot into there quite well. We don't really... If we're only going to sign one, it needs to be the one that's different to all the rest. We don't need to bring in someone that is similar or can rehashed. I think if you played Bruno in the 10 and you played McTominay and Fred behind him, that's fine, but you still don't have a right winger. That's why you need Jadon Sancho, and City fans would hate it.
Right, Mckola, Grealish, 30 seconds, talk to me.
He's ready for this move right now. He's experienced in the Premier League, he's got that, and I think the question marks about, oh, is he just a championship player? I think those are gone. He's ready for a stage like Old Trafford. He's obviously dreamed of this moment coming to Old Trafford. I think financially, it'll be a lot easier to get. I think whether they stay in the Premier League or not, he'll be a lot easier to get. And I think just bring him to Old Trafford. He's one of those players that is made for Old Trafford. He'll get us on the edge of our seats, and he'll be a massive part of the team as well. We need a player like Jack Grealish.
30 seconds, done. Go on then, Jay. 30 seconds. Tell me why Maddison needs to come.
Tell me why.
You look at James Maddison, you look at the seasons he's had in the Premier League, he gets better each year. And you look at the season that Leicester are having, they're having an amazing season, exceeded all expectations. And he's a big part of that. You know, he creates goals, he scores goals. He's a player that can sort of dictate the pace of the game as well at times. And I think if he comes to United, he'd just kick on and he'd raise the levels as well of this team, because too often, as I said earlier, we're sort of defensively, especially in midfield, you bring in another attack-minded midfielder, you put him alongside the likes of Bruno Fernandes, then it changes the whole dynamic of the team, and I think he's a massive red as well.
Seconds, done. You've all made really good points, I'll be honest. Before, I was sort of leaning towards Sancho, but I think that the point, especially about Grealish, where you mentioned, if we're coming up against teams who are going to sit back, just give him the ball and he will drive forward. I think that's convinced me, because I know he's going to be that player who's really heart on his sleeve going for it.
He rocks up late and you give him the fucking win.
I know. But I also think that Sancho would be class. We need a right winger more than
I think
position.
Realistically, out of all three, now that you've given me the decision and I've won.
I think
I've won, right? I've won, yeah.
You've won. I think Grealish is the most.
I think he's won. If we could only make one of those signings, Jadon Sancho, because of the balance in the squad. I don't think we could go on with Daniel James, our first choice winger.
No.
For much. I love him, great lad. He's settled in well. He's had a hard time, especially recently. But let's be real. You know what I mean? He's a squad player. And I think we need more on the wings. And if you can get around that midfield area and all that, and I think you need some balance, and we haven't got it. And I think that's partly why our front line's a bit.
We need options as well, man. You know, you see people, it annoys when people talk about, you hit the nail on the head, we talk about Mason Greenwood and people say, can't bring in Haaland because it'll stop Greenwood. Do you know what I mean? How many times?
List all the people that we signed in front of Marcus Rashford.
We've always had
Sanchez,
options at this club.
Lukaku, fucking. There were so many, Zlatan even. All of these players were signed under Marcus Rashford.
What's worse is that when you don't have options, you have someone like Mason Greenwood who's having to play, not now, but could be in a situation where he's having to play week in, week out. Because we ain't got anyone else.
Fred's just had to play week in, week out because we've got no one in to rotate him in. And then his performance dips and everyone's going, well, I guess he's shit again now. Or the guy's just knackered for starters. I think Fred's a fine
you have to say the same about Martial in the last month as well. I think a lot of people have been overly critical of him. I always get stick for, you're sticking, you know. But I did the same with Rashford, and I think start of the season, everyone was on Rashford's case. He's fucking awful. He's not a United player. He would be in the Championship. No,
we win on his case, by the way.
And I think, yeah, none of you guys. I just mean, like, players are going to have dips in forms. And I think if we look back at players' careers that we actually love, people even saying, Rooney, bring him back now. Do you not remember the end of, like, I think we forget things.
Do you not remember, like, when we last won the title, although many years ago, Robin Van Persie was it 11 games without a goal?
Yes.
And Rooney steps up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If this was now, Rooney wouldn't have been in the squad, Van Persie would have been on his own, and we'd have gone 11 games without scoring. Do you know what I mean? Because we had other options, we had another world-class player that could come in and score some goals, and we haven't got that at the minute.
We had Welbeck, Chicharito, Berbatov and Rooney, and Fergie went, I want another forward, and he went, cool.
Yeah, because we lost like, goal difference, didn't we? And it was like,
and there you go.
How do you make up the goal difference? 25 goals.
There you go.
Easy as that.
And that's what we're not got at the moment. We're not doing
options. And it saddens me though, because I don't think we will get many options.
Guys, we are out of here. Get your comments in below. Grealish, Maddison or Jadon Sancho, who do you think United should sign in the summer? Get your comments in, give us a like and subscribe to the channel on Full Time Devils. That's Jay, that's Howson, that's Adam. My name's Gaz. We'll see you next time in a bit.